Well, thank you very much, Katie, and thank you for everyone across the virtual landscape for joining us today here for this webinar. We're very excited to introduce our technology to those of you that may not be familiar with us, and we're also very excited to talk about some of the new technology and features we are bringing to the market space. Just a little bit about who ManagedMethods is for those of you that may not be familiar with us. ManagedMethods is a cybersecurity, safety, and compliance company specifically dedicated to the education market and specifically focused on providing security and safety around G Suite and the Microsoft 365 and Office 365 environments. The company is based in Boulder, Colorado, and we launched our first product into the market back in 2017. We are a very family-focused company, and many of us are parents with school-age children, and so the topics we're talking about today are very much near and dear to us, definitely. So we appreciate you joining us today, and let's talk a little bit more about our organization and what we're addressing. Katie, if you want to jump to the next slides. So ManagedMethods really helps focus on the challenges of the cloud-connected school. We talk day in and day out with school districts across North America who face these challenges of cybersecurity, cyber safety, and compliance. However, many of these challenges have become bigger challenges and more magnified problems in the COVID-19 era. Katie, if you want to jump forward. The challenges around cybersecurity, cyber safety, and compliance were there prior to COVID-19, and now many of these are more obvious than ever. They've been magnified by the distance learning, remote learning circumstances that our globe has been facing. Things like limited visibility and control over cloud-based file sharing, email, and conferencing have always handcuffed school districts in many ways because the technology that was in place was not designed to address these areas. Some antiquated, out-of-date approaches, whether it be from perimeter-based technology, whether it be for technology that just wasn't designed to work on all systems, or it wasn't specifically designed to work within the cloud environments and connected to these environments like G Suite or Office 365. Again, the differences are many, and these challenges now with distance and remote learning have just magnified these problems that already existed. Katie, let's go ahead and jump to the next slide. So here at ManagedMethods, we try to break down the approach to cybersecurity, cyber safety, and compliance really into 4 categories. It begins with visibility, the ability to monitor and audit in real time into what's happening in your G Suite or Office 365 environments. For today's purposes, we're going to really focus heavily on G Suite because of some of the new features we're focusing on. However, know that we also provide many of these exact same features across that of the Microsoft 365 environments. So we begin with monitoring and auditing, and once you have that capability to see everything, you can then apply advanced data security rules, whether it be data loss prevention rules around preventing data from being leaked out of the organization, whether it be privacy information, whether it be content that's not something you want to be exposed outside of the district domains. We then take it, of course, to threat protection, providing a veil of security around your G Suite environment or your Microsoft environment, against malware, against phishing, against unwanted attacks in email, file uploads, etc. Again, this area has become more magnified as a result of more users accessing the school's domain from either personal devices or outside the protected school perimeter. And last but not least, we wrap it up with the cyber safety aspect. ManagedMethods has its proprietary safety signals technology in which we use a combination of advanced content inspection and data loss prevention engine rules with arguably one of the most advanced machine learning technologies that we have brought to market to help identify self-harm, threats, and other types of risks to the school environment. Katie, if you want to jump forward. So what we find here at ManagedMethods is we help quickly identify and control some of the most pressing questions that districts are being faced with. In the last several months, this has become, again, more magnified. It was already there. It was already facing the districts. It created problems and challenges, but now they become even more magnified. Things like external file sharing. What does it look like? Who's sharing what? When? Where? Why? Are we at risk with some of the content that is being exposed through Google, Gmail, Drive, shared drives, Google Meet, Google Chat? And what third-party applications are being accessed and have permissions or scopes that we don't want that prevent risk or present risk to our district. With the rise in third-party application connectivity, because people have been trying to find ways to get things done better, it's presented more risk than ever before. So these are three main areas that we help quickly identify and control, and that we've been asked many times by our customers over this past spring how to address. Go ahead, Katie, we can jump forward. So let's go ahead and get into the demo and talk about some of the new feature and functionality that we're bringing forth, as well as we'll give you a tour of some of the other areas of our product that have made us so popular within the K-12 cybersecurity, safety, and compliance landscape. With that, I'd like to turn things over to my partner, Mr. Satish Narahari, who's our Chief Product Officer. Satish, can you hear us there?
Yeah, I can hear you great. Thank you, David. Good morning and good afternoon to everyone that took your time to join us today. I will start with the product demo. This is the best part of presenting, is to show off your work that our team has done. So what we are looking at here is our product, the ManagedMethods product, and I'm going to log into it using my Google credentials. And here we are. ManagedMethods, as David mentioned, supports leading SaaS applications such as G Suite, Office 365, Dropbox, and Slack. We support both G Suite for education in the K-12 market and also G Suite for commercial. For today, we'll jump into G Suite for education. And I want to highlight the new features we're releasing today. And then after we go through them, we'll go through a tour of the high-level tour of the product for those that have not seen our product. So the first one I'm going to show you, and there is a high level of interest in understanding Google Meet usage in K-12 school districts. And I'll show you how you can do that. So we'll go to the Accounts tab. This is where you can see all the users. And we'll go to Download an Audit Report. And here, this is where you can download variety of advanced reporting capabilities, right? So one of them is a Hangout Meet. I'll go ahead and download all the Hangouts, the meets that happened in the organization in the last 1 week. So we download that as a CSV file, comma separated format, which is fairly easy to use. If you have Microsoft Excel, you can do that, or you can import that as a Google Sheets and do your analysis there. Or if you have a favorite data analysis tool, you can import it there. If you do not have any of those, we also provide you with a tool from our labs, which we call Meets Organizer. And I'm going to load this file into the Meets Organizer. Once this is loaded, you can see all the meetings. There were 54 meetings in the last 1 week, and who the participants are. One of the questions that we get asked quite often is, and this is a behavior we see even in our kids, right? When they go to school, due to the remote education, they're at home, they attend the morning session with the teacher. After the teacher leaves the Google Meet, they hang on and talk to each other. And that may be okay in some scenarios, but may not be okay in other scenarios. So one of the questions we get asked is, show me all the meetings that only students were part of. So I just did that filter. There was one meeting where Sarah was meeting with Chris with students, and both were students. There's no staff member that was part of these meetings. And this is a scenario where you could go, okay, how long did they talk? 48 minutes. Okay, why would students be talking to each other? Let's say, especially in the elementary school, right? For 45 minutes. Then you may want to let the teacher know. This may be one of those scenarios where they're asked to work together on a homework, which is okay. But if you start seeing this pattern, or if the teacher requests that, hey, can you show me who all were attending this meeting after I left the meeting? My meeting ID is this right here that I'm highlighting. So, or you can also look at all the meetings that staff attended to see. There were 20 meetings where the staff was a part of the meeting. So for example, this is a good example of a good meeting where Ryan, who was the teacher, was meeting with Rob, Chris, and Charles, who are the students. And that's okay, right? That you would expect to see that. And you can see they were on the call for 33 minutes, 29, 34, 33. So that looks like a meeting that you would expect might be the morning session that teachers are doing these days. You can also look at how many of those meetings had video shares or screen shares. We might be concerned with video shares given unfortunately some incidents that have happened whereby a high school kid starts joining a Google Meet meeting by middle school kids. And they start video sharing and start showing pictures like whatever they think is cool, right? That might not be appreciated by the school. So that's about the Google Meet. There's plenty of other analysis you can do on this. Again, if you're interested, we'll be happy to set up a separate call and jump deeper into this. The second new feature we want to show is uh, Google Hangouts chat. So while students and staff were using Google G Suite, the chat is a new feature that has been exploding in usage because of the remote education. What are teachers telling the students now? Hey, if you have any questions, just hit me up on Hangouts chat. And the kids are figuring out that Hangouts chat is not just to talk to teachers, they can talk to each other as well. So what we're doing with Hangouts chat is we're automatically scanning all the messages for indicators of cyber safety or cyber security issues. So I'll go ahead and select a source, select Hangouts as the source and apply it. So here is a Hangouts chat between student 2 and they were talking to somebody else. And let's take a look. Here were a message that says, I'll kill myself. And also they were exchanging some credit card numbers, might be their parents' credit card numbers. And the active users was student 1. So student 2 is talking to student 1 and it flagged the risk. And this is something that we can alert administrators or whoever would like to get alerted on this behavior can get these messages. So that's how we are providing visibility into Google Chat as it happens. We will also be soon releasing similar capability to scan all the announcements that are getting posted on classrooms and also look at classroom attendance patterns. That'll be ready soon in a few weeks' time. With that, let me give you a high-level tour of the product. When our customers log into the product, this is the initial dashboard that they are landed in. This is where they would spend most of their time. Here is a summary of everything that happened in your environment in the last 24 hours. There were 30 messages, either emails or files that had PCI, which is credit card details. There were 20 that had personal identifying information. And there were 12 emails, we can tell that by the icon, that had a self-harm message, and 2 that had profanity. Similarly, you can also get a summary of all the third-party apps. Third-party apps could be the apps that you install on your phone, on your Chromebook, or or even on your browser. As long as you log into your G Suite account using this app, then we consider that a third-party app. And this is an important point to note. As schools move to remote education, we no longer have control over what devices the kids are using. I know, for example, my kids came home with Chromebooks that the school gave, but they like using their iPads to dial into these daily calls. Uh, the school IT doesn't know what is the security posture of these iPads, right? And they could be installing shopping apps on these iPads and log into them using the school email address. You can also see summary of all the emails that are automatically scanned for risk. Risk includes both cyber safety and cyber security. Are there any phishing emails that might be trying to entice your users to uh, fill in information or do something that you don't want them to do, right? Phishing has become quite popular now with the COVID-19 scams. And then file summary. And then below here, you can see the login information. What has this remote education done to us? It has broken down the concept of this perimeter where everybody is coming to the school, using the school issued devices and using G Suite, shutting down devices, going home. That's no longer true. They're logging in from everywhere. And this also is a great opportunity for bad guys to try to hack into accounts. And here you can see that there is a login from Poland, which is not an approved or expected location for this school district. And if you want, you can click on that and jump deeper into see which user had logged in from Poland. And you can contact them and say, hey, are you really using G Suite from Poland, or is it a compromised account, right? Often we find compromised accounts from their early login attempts and login uh, failures and successes. Okay, with that, I'll just give you a quick high-level overview of the accounts. We already looked at the audit report. One of the interesting things that we are interested in is the mobile report. We can download what mobile devices are accessing G Suite. I have already downloaded one in preparation for this meeting. And here you can see that Katie was using a machine called 81EM, which is a Windows. And this is important because we as a company have standardized on Chromebooks and our Pixel books. And I don't expect to see a login from Windows if she were at work, right? But because everybody is at home in this remote scenario, people are using whatever computer they feel most comfortable with. Or Jake has logged in from Inspiron 7580. Also going by our company device naming standard, I can tell you that most of these are not company owned devices. These are BYOD devices. And why is this important? It highlights the need for high level of security because I don't know what version of Windows Jake is running, whether he has been up to date on his patching. And I also don't know what kind of apps they are running on the device. So how do we protect it? We can look at all the third-party apps that users are using and see if there are apps that are connecting to your G Suite that could be problematic. For example, we'll take a look at the apps here. Here is a Rakuten, which is a popular shopping app. They have a cashback app that you can install. And a couple of our users have logged into Rakuten cashback using their company email address. And they are giving this app ability to read their email messages. So we can't think of any good reason why a shopping app needs to read your email messages. And in this case, I can come here and say, well, I don't want anybody using them. So I can decide either to send them a warning, send the users a warning that, hey, you're using an unapproved app and you're signing into it using your G Suite account. Or I can just remove it from here. Remove will break the link between the app and their G Suite account. The next one we'll look at is files. One popular use case here is I want to find if students are starting to share movies on our G Suite account or Google Drive. and I can search by file type. And sure enough, somebody has shared a movie, looks like the Avatar movie, pretty good movie actually, but it shouldn't belong on Google Drive. Or you can also look at all the documents on Google Drive that may be shared with anyone with edit permission. Again, the distance means people are sharing on Google Drive, and sometimes staff thinks that it's far easier to share it with everybody and just send them a link to that file. And that file might contain sensitive student information that you don't want somebody outside the school district to be able to access. So you can look at that information from here. Again, going to emails, summary of all the emails, and you can look at all the phishing emails. We have a policy here to automatically quarantine them. And here, for example, this example is a malware or a social engineering type of phishing. Essentially, there is a link in the email that's taken to a known phishing site. The other use case is if there is a targeted attack on your school district. It may so happen somebody starts spamming your users saying that your administrator or your school superintendent would like you to fill out this survey. And that email would come in and some people may respond to that, right? And if that is the case, and some people may report to you. If that is the case, you can actually come here and search for all the emails. So I'll select student 1, all the emails that match that subject or has the specific words, etc. For the purpose of demonstration, I'm just searching the inbox of student 1 for the last day. Sure enough, we can see all the emails that student 1 has. Again, this search can be done for any specific subject, which is what often you do if you have an outbreak of massive phishing attack on your school. Or in what is happening now is topics are getting heated and people are talking about politics, policy setting, COVID-19, and the email chain goes on and on. You can come here and find all of them after the search and automatically delete them. So that way you can stop the email chains before they become the wildfire that they tend to. Okay, we talked about the third-party apps. We showed you an example of that. Malware is where you see all the malware in your environment. And I'm looking at the active malware. I can remove that filter. And for example, here is a malware that was quarantined automatically as a policy. And the score is 93.98. I can download the report. And there are some anomalies that we detected in the document. We use AI to determine if a given document or payload is malware. The deception here is that the document contains JavaScript code, which is hidden in literal strings, which means it may be able to force a browser to go to an address or perform an action. So if the user opens this document, then it might do something like a HTTP post, which could result in an exploit being successful. Then finally, I want to spend a couple of minutes on the risks. This is where the bulk of the cyber safety and security scanning is happening. As you can see, there are 8,100 self-harm risks. So for example, and this is using our proprietary machine learning model that looks at not just the keywords, but it also looks at the sentiment of the text to determine if the text falls under the self-harm category. And I wanted to mention that our machine learning model has been trained exclusively on K-12 data. So this is custom built for the K-12 market. So this is not a general purpose ML model where the false positives can be high. Because we decided to focus on one domain, K-12, our model tends to perform better than if I were to use something like Google's Perspective API. So we'll look at here. So yeah, sure enough, there is, I'll cut my wrists. And we flag that as a medium risk with a risk score of 86%. We also automatically scan images for risk in them. So kids might be sharing images with each other, especially with the TikTok dare challenges happening. They might be cutting their wrists, etc. But here is one that where we detected violence is very likely and sure looks like it's somebody that got beaten up. So while our users like spending their time on the dashboard, we know that uh, IT folks are super busy. You have a million things going on. We don't expect you to be on the product day in and day out. Instead, what we would like you to do is set up your IT policies and automate what you want to do. For example, if there is an inbound risk, you might decide to quarantine the file so you can get back to it in the evening or whenever and look at that file. Similarly with the email, quarantine the email. If it is a malware, we recommend that you delete the files or quarantine the files. In the case of self-harm, I might decide rather than notifying me, notify the principal at highschool.com. And that might be sufficient. Just send an email to the principal or school psychologist so they can review it and take necessary action rather than trying to delete that file, right? If it is files being shared to outside domain, you can come and revoke the shares. So the policy engine is very powerful and highly customizable. And our support staff will work with our customers to configure these policies and also customize them as your needs emerge. You can break third-party apps, or you can either send a warning to the user, revoke access, etc. And in the case of suspicious logins, again, you can send a warning to the user or suspend the user temporarily or reset their password, thus forcing the user to come to you to talk to you about resetting the password again, right? So they can get back into the G Suite. So one additional thing is, okay, we set the policies. How do I know these policies are working? Well, you can come to the policy violations tab and see all the policies that got executed and what remediation was taken. With that, I will stop the demo portion of it, and then we can take any questions and answers.
Well, thank you, Satish, for that overview and the introduction. Exciting capabilities and technology, and a lot of great questions coming in to the chat window. So let's go take a look at some of these questions. One of the questions that was asked, is this product part of Google or standalone? This is a standalone offering. So Managed Methods, we are a certified Google for Education partner. We are also a Google Cloud Platform partner. The product and the technology you just saw that was being demonstrated is hosted. Our company uses Google Cloud Platform, and we work closely with Google on many fronts. So we are a standalone, separate and separately licensed technology. And so that was to another question. So you're a third-party application. You're not part of Google. Correct. We are a separate software company, but we are using your Google data, but we're only accessing your Google data in your environment. So one of the questions was asked about our architecture. We are a cloud native solution, so 100% based in the cloud. There's no software or agents or proxies that are installed on your end. And we are looking at anything, any data, any place, any user, any device that comes into, in this example, your G Suite domain. We are not backing up the data. We do not store the data. We do not copy it and move it over to AWS or some other cloud platform for analysis. The data always stays within your G Suite account. You simply grant us permission to come in through a OAuth token to use the API technology, and you as the end user district control the access to that. So your data is safe, secure, never moves, never leaves your environment. That leads to another question we had. Do we support iPad and Mac devices? And the answer is yes, in the sense that we don't do anything with the device in terms of there's nothing that has to be installed. So any device that's accessing your, in this example, G Suite domain, we would be able to see that access, whether it's coming through a Chromebook, a MacBook, an iPad, a personal phone device. We'll see that access. Somebody asked the question here, if we have verified an account that's been compromised with criminal login activity from overseas, can we use this platform to detect that account, log it out, force password changes, remediate compromises? The answer is yes, we can do that. And you can also set up a restricted list that would not allow for, for example, outside the United States in this example, access to it. Let's see, how far back can we search? Our platform out of the box goes back and looks at the last 30 days worth of data. However, we do have the ability to go back further in time, and that's done on a case-by-case basis as requested by customers. A question was asked, if emails are deleted from the Managed Methods console, will this activity be found in the Google admin reports? You can see if email is deleted by, say, an end user, our platform could still scan the information while it's in the trash can. If the admin of the Managed Methods platform sets up a policy or manually goes in and handles remediation and deletes an email from an environment, it would still be available in Google Vault. Although I can't speak to necessarily how all of that access is done in Google Vault because I'm not a Google Vault expert. But yes, that data would still be available there.
Yeah, also note that just to add to that, David, I think the question was if admin goes to Managed Methods platform and deletes the emails. Yes, that will be reflected in the Google admin reports, which you can also download from our platform as well.
Thank you, Satish. Good. There's questions about can our software help with filtering of FERPA and SIPA information? Yes, we can look for information that contains student information, individual education plans, student records. We can look for inappropriate content, etc. Question is being asked about your Hangout, chat, meet support looks very nice. Is Zoom included? No. At this time, we do not support Zoom. I know that's obviously another very popular used platform out there. Currently today, we're unveiling we rolled out this spring support of Google Meet and Chat, formerly known as Hangouts. We will be rolling out support of Microsoft Teams in the future when Microsoft completes its API and ability to work with API partners. And we are in waiting and seeing what Zoom is doing, because Zoom has recently announced some changes they're going to be making to their platform. So stay tuned. The question is being asked, my district uses G Suite and Office 365. Do they have to be licensed separately? No, our platform covers all of it. So we have many school districts that are pure Google. We have many school districts that are pure Microsoft, and we have many districts that are hybrid. So I was on a call this morning, for example, with a school district. They use Google, Gmail, Drive, shared drives, Classroom, Chat, Meet, etc. within the schools with students, teachers, interaction with parents, etc. But then the district as a whole, all staff members, faculty and staff have Exchange Online, email, OneDrive, and SharePoint accounts. And it's all included into the Managed Methods platform. Could we get a copy of the presentation? Yes, this will be made available to all registered attendees of today's event. So teachers, the question someone's asking, could we elaborate a little bit more on our scanning technology and about our ability to detect self-harm and inappropriate content, and is it configurable?
Yeah, so the self-harm detection, there are two mechanisms we use. One is the machine learning one, which is something we built. It is leveraging a lot of work being done by the cutting edge researchers on machine learning. And what we did was, our value add to this is, we took these algorithms, we customized them for K-12 and trained it using K-12 data. The second method we use is uh, also a pattern based. The pattern based is highly customizable, and that can be used to detect, for example, there was a period of time when schools were dealing with this Tide Pod challenge. We're actually able to modify the algorithm to flag that as a risk. Uh, the machine learning model can also be trained. However, the training there is not as specific as saying that I don't want this particular one to be flagged. It's more about feeding it false positives or false negatives so that the machine learning model would learn it and start incorporating that feedback. Go ahead, David.
Thank you, Satish. We're receiving a question here. Does Managed Methods work as a replacement of G Suite's security features, or do you work in addition to G Suite's security features? The answer is really both. I mean, we're not positioning ourselves to be a replacement. The reality is we have many customers that are using some of Google's advanced Google for Education Enterprise Edition feature and functionality, and they're using us for various things of cybersecurity and cyber safety. Both Google and Microsoft offer advanced licensing technology and security capabilities, but when you look at, for example, in this question, Google's G Suite Education Enterprise Edition, there's many more things involved there that most districts are looking into. So we have a lot of mutual situations where school districts are using both G Suite Enterprise Edition for things like advanced communications, the licensing around voice and Hangouts, extended meetings, etc. And they use our platform for the advanced security and student safety capabilities. Some questions are being asked about how is our platform licensed. Our platform is licensed based on user counts. So we work with school districts both using the NCES database as well as when we connect into your domain. Google or Microsoft provide the audit capabilities of your accounts. And so we work with you on both an FTE and a student basis. The platform can be licensed either purely for non-student use, meaning just your faculty and staff, or it can be licensed for the entire domain to cover all faculty, staff, and students.
Oh, there's a great question, David, that I'm seeing. Can information be tracked when the user uses an incognito window? Absolutely, yeah. Because we are API based, we're actually working at the SaaS level, not at the browser level. So even if they use incognito window and uh, try to log into their G Suite account, we know that we can detect that. Or if they go ahead and download a file or share a file, we detect that.
Thank you, Satish. Another question is being asked, can Managed Methods be used to help track student attendance if using the Meet feature? The answer is yes. For example, my son is, I have a 14-year-old son who's in middle school, 8th grade, and his school currently today, how they are operating is every morning at 8 a.m. they log into their homeroom Google Meet session, and that's where attendance essentially is taken. And they do a couple other checkpoints throughout the day, and that's done through Google Meet. So through our auditing reports, as Satish just showed in the demonstration, we would be able to show you all attendees of either a specific meet, or you could look at specific students and see all of their attendance and participation in meet. So yes, you could use this to track student attendance in that particular scenario. There was a question about compliance around G Suite with schools and how we're helping address them. It depends. There's a combination. You have federal state, and then international laws. So we can help you in terms of looking for keywords associated with rules around FERPA, content with rules around SIPA. But then every state has different laws. Now, currently today, I believe there's 40. I haven't checked just recently. But as we started this year, there was approximately 40 of the 50 states here in the United States that had passed additional student data privacy laws and regulations. For example, here in our home state of Colorado, we help many of our partner districts adhere to the state of Colorado laws that will require showing who has access to data in G Suite, who's it's being shared with, what is the content of that. Of course, international law can come into play if your school district, for example, has students that you're hosting as a part of a student exchange program. You would have to potentially adhere to things like GDPR, et cetera. So what we recommend is that you speak to your school legal counsel and also speak to specialists out there about how your school in your particular state, your particular district has to adhere to those rules. In terms of how, another question was asked, how we would determine say a FERPA violation or SIPA. Again, we have the ability not only with out-of-the-box templates, but then fully customizable templates to look for any type of content as it applies to the various laws. So, for example, is it the rule of three? Maybe, a first name, last name, and a date of birth, or is it contain individual education plans or disciplinary structures or social worker type of content? So we can detect and analyze for any number of scenarios within the content, but whether it's FERPA, SIPA, state laws, etc., we have the ability to put together profiles and policies to scan and look for that information. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Somebody just said thank you. We love the platform. If there's any other questions, I think we're still available here to answer a few more questions as we're approaching the timeline. Was this session recorded? Yes, it was. So we will not only be notifying all participants of today's session, you'll be able to get a copy of today's presentation through the recording. Any other questions? What we can do as well, as you see on the screen, we do offer up complimentary access to our platform. We always offer a free 30-day trial. During the COVID-19 crisis and these unprecedented times, when this began, and for example, here in our home state of Colorado, when our state was sent into safe at home and in stay at home in place orders back on March 16th, we began offering our platform at no cost to our friends out there that weren't already customers of our service, to give them help and essentially extending our free trial. So we offered that up through the end of the school year here, May 31st, but we still offer up a free 30-day trial to anyone out there. You can claim access to it by clicking on the link within the email that's going to be sent out to you. Of course, you can visit ManagedMethods.com. And then, of course, any questions you have from today's event or any other questions you'd like to ask as it pertains to Managed Methods and what we do with K-12 school districts, feel free to email sales@managedmethods.com. We work across all 50 states and Canada, and we as well have customers internationally too. So we're here to help the K-12 education market globally. If you'd like to learn more information about licensing or pricing, I know there's just been a lot of questions about people are asking me, like, here's how many people are in my district, here, what would that cost? That's much easier to just address on a one-by-one situation for you. Again, the platform is licensed on a per user basis. It's a subscription-based service, and you can license it either just for your faculty and staff, or you can license it for the entire domain, staff and students. So if you have questions, we're happy to put together an individual conversation with each and every one of you. Simply send an email to sales@managedmethods.com or visit our website or sign up for the free trial, and we're happy to provide even a private demonstration or help set up a free trial for your district. Well, Katie, I think at this time, we've covered all the topics today, answered all the questions. And again, we appreciate everyone for joining us today. We had a record-breaking number of registrations for today's event. We certainly appreciate it, and we wish everyone good health and well-being, and stay positive through these uncertain times. And we here at Managed Methods are here to help, and we're here to help our partners and welcome new K through 12 districts to the family. So everyone stay well and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you all.